The incident I'm going to share with you ended up changing my entire life. It's not just one incident, but a sequence of events that happened over a period of several years. I don't like talking about this, but it's really important for me to get this off my chest. Though I am from Punjab, India, in those days we were living in Manchester, England. Everything was going good, but then one of our own cheated us. We were robbed of all of our money and even our house. Now, we neither had any money left nor did we have a house to live in. My parents and my brother were also living in England, so we decided to move into their house for a few days. We had thought that after a few days, when things will become normal, we will move into our new house, which actually happened after some time. My husband got a new job, and we were able to move into the new house. We took a house on rent in London. Though the house was very old, it was very big and beautiful, and the best thing was, the rent was too low. We could easily afford it. We were all very happy. We had a small, happy family. Me, my husband, and my 2 kids, 1 son and 1 daughter. And now we had to start a new life in that house. But on the very first night, I had a very bad dream. I was sleeping in the room with my kids when I saw in my dream that a woman was standing next to my feet. Seeing her, it felt as if I knew that woman. Though she didn't say anything to me, I got so scared that I screamed. Hearing my scream, my husband, who was doing some work in the other room, came running to me. I told him about the woman, and he said, "Don't worry, it was just a bad dream. There's no woman here, and I'm working in the other room. Just go back to sleep." But then again, as soon as I had laid on the bed, a vase kept on the table next to my bed was thrown off the table very violently. I again got up, shaking in fear. I spent the whole night praying to God. Even the next day, I kept thinking about last night. Who was that woman? Was that just a dream? Or is this house actually haunted? But what I had not imagined, even in my wildest dreams, was that it was just a beginning. The next day, my parents came to our house to stay with us for a few days and to help me settle in the new house. As long as my parents stayed in the house, everything remained normal. But as soon as they left, everything changed. One night, when my husband and I were in our bedroom, we saw all the papers kept on the table suddenly fly in the air. We looked at each other's face, but no one uttered a word. We didn't want to think about it and just went to sleep. But from that very night, the strangest things started happening every night. I was pregnant in those days, and every night when I would be sleeping on the bed, it would feel as if someone was kicking the bed from down below. We had some of our stuff kept under the bed, and every night all of that stuff would get scattered on the floor. Every night when we would be sleeping, we would hear footsteps outside our room. Our bedroom was there on the first floor, and our kitchen was downstairs. We could hear strange noises coming from the kitchen, too. We didn't want to stay in that house, but we had nowhere else to go. We had no money, and we couldn't afford to move into a new house. Every night, as soon as it struck 11, the entire house's vibe would become depressing and evil. My kids were small, and I would spend whole nights praying to God to keep my kids safe. Several months passed, and I gave birth to another son. But as soon as I brought him home to that house, strange things started happening, even to him. Often, he would be in my arms and he would start shaking violently, as if he was getting some kind of seizure. He was only a month old, and in just a few days, his health became very bad. We took him to the hospital, and the doctor said that he was in very bad shape and couldn't be saved. For the next 2.5 months, I kept running around the hospital to save my son, but in the end, he passed away. With the loss of my son, I got into depression, and during this time, I failed to notice that even my bigger son had started facing strange things. After some time, when I became normal, my son would often tell me that strange things happen to him every night. He used to tell me that someone enters his room every night and would pull his blankets, and would also pull his legs and try and strangulate him. He would say that it's a man and he wants to tell me about himself. That man told my son that this house used to be a prison and that many people, including him, were badly tortured and killed in that prison. In fact, there was not just one but several spirits present in the house. It was a very evil house. But I didn't believe my son. I would just dismiss all of this, saying, "It's just your own imagination." But gradually, things got even worse. My son had completely changed. Suddenly, he had become a very angry person. He was full of anger and would hate everyone. Even my husband left his work. I would manage my home only on the aid that we got from the government. Often, in the night, my son would jump off the window and would go out, only to come back the next day. He wouldn't even remember that he had gone out jumping off the window. One day, he even attempted suicide. Every day, he would tell me that there are ghosts in this house and that he sees them every day. But only he could see those ghosts. For some reason, they were not visible to me. 2 more years passed, but things remained worse. I also gave birth to a baby girl. My son had become totally deranged. Even my husband had become gay, and it was as if he had just abandoned us. Though he lived in that same house, he had nothing to do with our happiness or our sorrow. He would often tell me that someone enters his room at night and takes his clothes off, and he doesn't even realize when this happens. One night, when I woke up, I saw a boy, 11 to 12 years of age, standing next to my bed. He was wearing white clothes, and he said to me that he would take both my daughters away with him, and then he just started laughing. Hearing his words, I got very scared. In that house, whenever we would stay on the ground floor after 11 p.m., all the things there would start falling off automatically. One night, my kids were watching some movie downstairs, and I was upstairs in my room. It was already quite late, so when I started walking downstairs to call my kids up, I saw a woman in black standing on the stairs. She was angry, and as soon as she saw me, she punched the stairs handle, as if she was asking me, "Why are your kids downstairs this late?" Altercations started happening between me and my husband every night, and then one day he just disappeared. My bigger son's health had started deteriorating day by day. He had become totally deranged and had started worshiping Satan. Eventually, his condition became so bad that he had to be admitted into a mental health facility. Now, only I and my 2 daughters were present in that house. I started getting vivid nightmares. I would see myself walking towards a big tree where a teenage boy and girl are standing. That boy would try and enter my body, but as soon as he tries to do that, my sleep breaks. It would happen with me every night. Even my own parents had stopped talking to me. There was no one in the entire world who I could ask for help. My life was totally shattered. One of my sons had died, and the other one had become mentally deranged. My husband had abandoned me, and the bad things started happening even with my younger daughter. Even at night, she would start crying and screaming all of a sudden. My life had become a living hell, but then an angel of a man came into my life. He helped me leave that house and move into a new one. He helped me a lot. On the last day in that house, we were packing up all of our stuff, and there was a loft next to our room. When I got into that loft to pack up our stuff, I saw many clothes belonging to all of my family members lying in that loft. But we never used that loft. I had no idea how those clothes got there. Finally, I left that house. I could not even save my bigger son. He died in that same mental hospital. After going into the new house, everything became normal. My nightmares have vanished, and all the strange things stopped happening. That evil house destroyed my whole life.
Well, friends, how'd you like today's story? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for this channel to listen each and every weekday for more real horror stories. We got a ton of amazing real horror stories, and we're dying to share them with you. So until then, stay out of the dark and stay tuned for our next video.